government tell you that you don't have religious freedom. Now that is very disheartening.
It was kind of a scary time. Our lives would be, forever changed.
I just did not anticipate that my career would end under such terms.
No way would I have ever thought I would be in this position. I definitely understand freedom in a different way.
I believe that the freedoms and liberties in the United States of America in my life have proven that a poor kid from an at-risk family, a single mom with 6 children on welfare and food stamps living in poverty, with those freedoms can cause their dreams to come true.
It doesn't generally feel like it's the middle of a hurricane. It's just God has put us here and He's equipped us to do everything that we need to do.
I know it would be easier for some people to just close the doors and walk away, but that's not our purpose why we're where we are. God put us there for a reason.
At the darkest hour, our church showed up and the family rallied around us, prayed for us, and that was a big thing for us.
You really get to see the fullness of God when you stand up for His truth, His word.
I suppose God's surprised me the most by His faithfulness and His promises. You read those and you sort of say, yeah, right, but when it comes right down to it, His promises and what He says is true.
I would stand inside the building and think, is this going to be over? When God has placed us here. They, by one little ordinance, told us that we're no longer relevant.
Our kids have seen that there's a real cost to serving the Lord. Why would I, as a business owner, want to bring this on my company? If anything, I would want to stay as far away from that as possible.
The very faith that caused me to get my job ultimately has cost me my job.
I definitely understand freedom in a different way. Yeah, before it was just sort of off here in another world, but when it happens to you, and it will happen to you, when they come to take that away, it takes on a whole new meaning.
The negative side of people that call and swear at you or whatever, they don't know me, so it gives me an opportunity to pray for people that I wouldn't know.
Losing the business was very hard for me. I worked really hard to build it up. I put a lot into it. And for that, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, very hard.
Our definition of freedom in the United States of America is changing right before our eyes. I believe that those very freedoms are at risk in our beloved United States of America today.
Before all this went on, I felt like there was freedom, that we had all kinds of freedom. And going through this now, I definitely am seeing just a whole different world and feeling like definitely freedom, especially religious freedom, is really, at stake.
Christ stood up for me. Do I think so much less of Him that I wouldn't stand up for Him?
I can trust Him and rely that God's doing what He's going to do. And if He has chosen to use us in part of that, it's quite an honor.
It's a very sobering way to start an evening like this tonight. But if any of us think what we've seen there is for the Only in America file, we need to think again. Just in the last few weeks, one of the very courageous voices for marriage between a man and a woman in this country, Archbishop Julian Porteous of the Catholic Archdiocese of Hobart, distributed a very simple booklet to the Catholic schools in his diocese. It was entitled "Don't Mess with Marriage." The text was very respectful to our same-sex attracted friends, but it simply made the case that marriage is between a man and a woman, and that wherever possible, a child should be able to be raised by their mother and father. Well, the leader of Australia's same-sex marriage political movement, Rodney Croome, was outraged at what the Archbishop did by distributing Christian teaching on marriage to Christian schools in his diocese. And he called on people to report Archbishop Porteous to the Tasmanian Human Rights Commission. He said this is harmful and hurtful to children. This is extraordinary. The law of our land says that marriage is between a man and a woman, and yet we're told that this sort of thing should be outlawed and made illegal, even now. Just in the last couple of weeks or so, we've seen our friends at Marriage Alliance, a separate organisation, but another player that's emerged in the field, try and have advertisements broadcast on Channel 7, Channel 10 and Foxtel, and refused to have very innocuous ads detailing another side of the story. What we're seeing there tonight on this video is very, very real, and I think we need to start to have a conversation in this nation before we change the definition of marriage.